Hello everyone, and welcome to part 4 of my art and writing video log. Last time, in the last 3 videos, I told you about how I got started in art, and I finished with telling you that for the most part I like drawing outfits, and yeah, I really found my way into the anime style and I really loved it. And in these parts I'm going to tell you about writing, which is another hobby I still practice and which is still probably my favorite hobby of all. I started as a kid with writing, well, not so much writing but making up stories. Even as a child I was always walking around, and as I told last time, in elementary school I was tormented something horribly, and we'll not discuss that. But most of the time I would go outside, so my mom and dad wouldn't notice that I had no friends, because, well, they had my brother and I didn't want to give them more problems. Anyway, I would walk around town and just imagine all kinds of things like kids do, and when I got into elementary school, high school, sorry, in 1998, I was already on my computer, at least, writing about actually I started in 1999 writing actual fan fiction, and in 2004, when I was in the middle of some heavy therapy for my tormented past, I actually began posting them on the internet on www.fanfiction.net. Link will be down here. My screen name there is Kadishkaresh, which I will also type so you know how to write it. And I started writing fanfiction about Gundam Wing, which was and still is and probably always will be my favorite anime, or one of my favorites. I also did some for Avatar and for Yu-Gi-Oh! And for Yu Yu Hakusho. I think I did one for Rurouni Kenshin as a challenge, and another one from Trinity Blood, that was also a challenge. But yeah, my roots in fanfiction lie with Gundam Wing, and always will lie there. I think I even tried my hand at some Fullmetal Alchemist, but that never got posted. I have like 1,000 or so discs lying around with backups. To explain that, my father had a really crummy computer that he had to rebuild every time and fix another part from which he got from another old computer, and it was already an old computer, so yeah, fixing and never stopped fixing. And at some point it got to the point where every other day I had to make a backup for fear of losing what I'd written so far. So eventually I started out keeping these floppy disks, the little square ones, and just after writing something I would immediately save it on my disk for fear of losing it. And yeah, so I have like put that on a CD, so I have like one DVD actually, a DVD-ROM of 700 MBs of just everything that I ever saved and advanced. And yeah, it took me 5 hours to actually finish putting everything on that DVD, and then I still had to drop some stuff I didn't care anymore about, or that I had double, or to make enough space for it to all fit on there. And it's like one, and I have like around 100 other ones laying around all over the house right now that have copies of stories I at one time wrote. And sometimes I go back and look at the CDs and DVDs and all that stuff that has my writing on it, and I see some stories and I'm like, well, I should have just finished that, or why didn't I ever finish that? And I start working on that and actually trying to finish it. And So yeah, I've looked up some stuff, old stuff that I have. Anyway, as a writer, the most basic tools you need are, and for this I did not prepare, I forgot something. Have fun in these life beads. Let's see, where are you? Where did you? I know I have one. There we are. The most basic tools any writer takes with them everywhere, much like any artist takes with them everywhere, their trusty old HB pencil, a sketchbook, and an eraser and a sharpener. As a writer, you bring with you your trusty notebook and a pen everywhere you go. It started out as us going on vacation and having no computer there. I would bring these, my notebooks, filled with lined paper from our office shop. I'll put this one over here now. And I would take those everywhere and whenever I had an idea, because usually I would be on the road and I'd have this amazing idea for a story. And wouldn't you know it, I would be sitting here in the car with a great idea and nothing to write on or with. So I took to bringing those utensils. I'm getting a bit of a stiff neck here. I'm sitting like this. Let's see if we can sit up. There we are. So yeah, but I actually started writing a lot earlier in my life. I started writing poetry. And I've got this, and it's not officially published. It's just a book with empty pages. Then I stuck this picture of a pigeon that I photoshopped text on. And that has all my poems in it that I have so far, and most of them are Dutch, but I have 3 that I wrote in English. I'm going to, let's see, yeah. I'll do these 2 because I like these 2 best out of the 3. And the other one is more tied in with the story I wrote, and it won't make much sense to you. Darkness. Darkness surrounds me, but it's okay, for I am a shadow, so rage on across the sea my storm, and calm my troubled soul, so that I can rest some and feel good tonight. That's one of them. I wrote that one when I was a lot of depressed. I needed an outlet for all the negative feelings and thoughts, and I wrote that. My mom at the time was very worried that I might actually commit suicide, and she told me that much later on, and I told her that she should never worry about that, because while I get depressed sometimes, I will never ever kill myself. I am a Christian person, and I believe that suicide is about the worst kind of death you can take. If there's never, yeah, I don't know. A lot of people would argue, what if your life is so shitty that death is actually better than life? And I'm like, well, I really don't know, but to me, if like you're just depressed and you're not being hurt all the time, kicked or punched or beaten up, or it's not war or something, then I feel like you shouldn't just go and end your life because you feel miserable. It's hard to explain really, and that's not what this is about, so we'll move on. This is another one I wrote a while ago, about 2 or 3 years ago. I'm like a puppet, placed on a socle, dressed in silk, adorned with sparkling stones, like a pearl behind glass for the world to see, for people everywhere to adore, but never touched or ever loved. Like a treasure, almost surreal, I sit upon my throne, priceless for all to see. I feel like a puppet on display. I don't really know where most of my poems come from. They just hit me out of nowhere, or I read this story and I get this really strange feeling and I just start writing and that comes out. So yeah, that's actually where I started with poetry, and later I started writing stories. And the funny thing is, I found this notebook. As you can see, it has stickers on it, so it's not the other one. And I actually found out that I have a piece of a fanfic that I started for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. But I never finished it, and I thought it'd be really cute if I could just read it to you all. It's something I wrote back in, let's see, this had to be when I was in middle school, I think, on the verge of graduating. And when I was really into the anime head on. Let's see. It starts off like this. A long time ago, when Pharaoh Atem's grandfather, half the time I can't even write what I wrote, I can't even read what I wrote. This is fun. I could have, if I did this offline, I would have a whole blooper reel. Anyway, long ago, in the time when Pharaoh Atem's grandfather reigned the Egyptian lands and the Shadow Games did not yet exist, another even more dark and deadly game wreaked havoc upon those involved. The losers lost more than their soul. They were doomed to die. For ages people thought this curse was extinct, annihilated with the last mage who knew how to summon it. The mage got revenge on the royal family by imprisoning the granddaughter of the pharaoh. In a cart. If he should ever die, and this happened, grief struck all who knew the kind-hearted princess, especially her brother Atem, and a man of high stature who cared deeply for the girl. Rumor had it that she could be saved by one who won the deadly soul duels. That's the intro to the story, and we're kind of going over time here. A little, I think. At least my timer is red and we're over 10 minutes. I don't know, maybe half of this shit isn't even getting on there. I really don't know. Anyway, going on from there, we go to like the future where Yami is already in Yugi's body. What's going on out there? Yami asked as he looked out the game shop window. A duel, I'd say, Yugi answered. Go on and watch you two. It's closing time anyway, Solomon, Yugi's grandfather said, smiling as both boys ran out. Yugi had been so sad after Yami left that he nearly fainted, when one night Yami returned saying that the gods sent him back to help right a wrong. And Yugi must have been very happy. I didn't finish that sentence. It's funny reading all this back. Anyway, activate trap card. Mirror wall, your monsters are destroyed. A battered, bruised, and stabbed ruby-haired teen said. The other cloaked person screamed in pain and struggled to stand as it ended its turn. The girl drew a card and smirked. Yeah, Yugi looked at Yami. I think this is one of those stories I wrote where I actually had Yami be a separate person after he came back. We're short on time. I'm reading on. Yugi looked at Yami, mentally stating his worry over the fact that no one seemed to notice the duel but them. Yami shared this worry, but said that it was best to wait out the duel, then ask. At the moment, the girl attacked with her Neo swordsman and hit the cloaked guy, and the monster drew actual blood. Shocked, they watched as the cloaked figure fell to the ground and disappeared. Along with him, the girl fell over. Yami and Yugi went to the girl. And that's where I ended it. It's actually quite funny looking back now, because I wrote that story really long ago, and I actually notice little flaws now. But yeah, we're at 15 minutes now, so I'm gonna round it up for this part, and next part I'll tell you more. So see you next time. じゃあまたね。